Report on the work that it has done in the first phase of public hearings. The commission established by the president earlier this year into the inquiry of the feasibility of a fee-free higher education and training in South Africa. To give us an update, we joined in our studios in Johannesburg by the spokesperson of the commission, Musa Ndwandwe. Musa, good morning to you and welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming through. Now, recently the commission presented the president with this report. Like I said, it's a preliminary report. Can you talk to us about the report?
Yes, in terms of the statutory mandate of the commission, we have at intervals we have an obligation to update the president. We have to report on what has been happening so far. So this is an interim report, and it's meant to give an account of what we've been doing, and it's also meant to prepare the president maybe for the final recommendations, so that if there is so much change in what has been recommended, it doesn't come as a surprise. So unfortunately we cannot discuss the content because it's the president's prerogative to look at it and maybe share with the public. But it contains a summary of the evidence we've been gathering at the commission since the beginning of the public hearings and the written submissions in January.
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate that you cannot share with us the content of the preliminary report as of now. But we know that different stakeholders made their presentation to the commission. What is going to happen next? Are we still going to see the next phase of public hearings maybe?
Yes, remember that the structure of the commission was in such a way that the question whether higher education and training in this country can be fee-free comes last. The other questions that we ask first are related to what kind of policy environment are we operating in, what are these costs that drive the institutions to charge fees and increase fees, what are the costs for a student to study in this country, and we'll also look at what other alternative sources of funding can be sourced. We look at international best practice. These are the sets that we are currently going to embark on.
So are you saying that in a way that the issue of fee-free higher education is not necessarily the priority of the commission, but you will look into it, but it's not necessarily at the top of the agenda? No,
the commission has always understood its task as to prepare a way for a transformed higher education funding system. This is why we have to look at all other issues. It's not merely answering to the question whether it's feasible, because if you say it's feasible, then you must have prepared the way. A roadmap in a way has to be drawn up so that if there's a transformation in the way we currently handle our higher education and training sector, then we have to look at all the implications, look at all that is necessary. This is why we have had to even ask for an extension so that all these issues are looked at in detail, and the solutions that are proposed are actually workable ones, not just ideas.
Yeah, one would have actually thought that it would also be looked into, especially if we take into consideration the Fees Must Fall protest. But Musa, some students' organizations have already indicated their unwillingness to participate in the proceedings of the hearings of the commission. What have been their concerns to you as the commission?
Yes, we've had people who've been opposed to the process, many of them for their own political reasons. But the formations that are legitimate structures have also been part of this process. They've submitted their written presentations, and they've come before the commission to present oral evidence. So while we understand that there would be some that are opposed for their own reasons, the voice of the student is captured and will be represented in the final recommendations because of those who have come to us. The students' demand are on the table. It's for the commission to look at how to meet them in trying to address those demands.
But what were they saying during their presentations?
Well, we've had SASCO, for instance, proposing that we need to look at how government spends its money. We need to look at how to curb what they call wastage and even corruption, so that some of that money can be channeled towards higher education and training. We've had people talking about pensions of public servants and all other funds that can be freed to look into the issue of higher education and training.
All right. So are you perhaps maybe also engaged in discussions with the ministerial task team that was appointed by President Jacob Zuma to assist the Minister of Higher Education and Training to actually normalize the situation at the different institutions of higher learning?
Yes, we've engaged with all policy documents that are relevant to the higher education and training, including the white paper and that ministerial task team. We've had to interrogate people responsible for those reports to understand why it hasn't been implemented maybe, and look at the wider policy environment and how it has affected current legislation and current systems in the sector of higher education. So we've understood that mainly there's been budgetary constraints towards effecting some of the proposals that were in those task team reports and others that have come before it. This is why the Commission will have to recommend firmly on where to find the money to implement some of the proposals that were already there before this Commission started sitting.
All right. Now that the preliminary report has been presented to President Jacob Zuma, what will happen next?
We're continuing with the process of public hearings until March next year. We're currently looking into the issue of student funding.
Yeah.
The Commission is still sitting in Pretoria. Today we'll be receiving evidence, we'll be with witnesses who talk on the issue of how students are funded, where are the problems, what are the costs, and after that, as I've said, we'll look into the issue of alternative sources of funding.
So are you still going to make it for the June deadline next year?
We are within
Possibly.
schedule and within budget for June next year.
All right, now let's leave it at that. But Musa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
very much. There you have it. That's Musa Ndwandwe. He's the spokesperson for Commission of Inquiry into Higher Education and Training. We're taking a break. Morning Live continues after this. Don't go away.